Apologies in advance if I break out into a spontaneous coughing fit at some point in this video, or maybe several points during this video. I feel like Bob Fleming from The Fast Show. Any of you guys remember him? Bob Fleming? Oh, gosh. Making myself cough already. Bob Fleming here. I can't do the accent. Anyway, enough of all the foolishness. Oleksandr Usyk has expressed his desire to step up to heavyweight since he's achieved everything there is to achieve at cruiserweight. And one of the heavyweight names he's been linked to is Dillian Whyte. Now, Dillian Whyte has responded by saying that he thinks Usyk would struggle with any of the top 5 heavyweights. He says that if he fought Usyk, he would make it rough and dirty, and he would impose his physical size and strength on the naturally smaller man. He actually said that he was a little surprised by the fact that Tony Bellew fought such a clean fight against Usyk. He felt like Bellew should have been more rough and tumble, and that he may have been more successful if he'd fought that way. And it kind of reminds me of when Orlando Salido fought Usyk's friend and countryman, Vasyl Lomachenko, because Salido went into the Lomachenko fight with that kind of mentality. He thought to himself, this guy's had like 7,000 amateur fights and only lost one. I ain't going to try box with him. I know that's an exaggeration, people. He didn't have 7,000, but, you know, he had a lot. So Salido went into that fight thinking, I ain't trying to box with this guy. I'm going to introduce him to professional boxing. I'm going to rough him up. I'm going to get away with as many fouls as I can. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make him feel uncomfortable, because coming from the amateur program, he's used to clean fights with very strict officiating. Whereas in professional boxing, the referee is a little more lenient. They're not so pedantic in professional boxing. They allow a lot more roughness. They allow a lot more clinching. You know, that's how professional boxing is. And so Salido pushed it as far as he could possibly push it in terms of dirtiness and roughness, and he got the win. To this day, Salido is the only guy to put an L on Vasyl Lomachenko's resume or record. So would Dillian Whyte be able to emulate Orlando Salido and do something similar to Oleksandr Usyk? Well, when that happened to Lomachenko, was that his first fight? I think it was his first fight, wasn't it? Or his second fight when he challenged Salido for the world title. Oleksandr Usyk has had 16 fights. So although he's not as experienced as Dillian Whyte in terms of total number of fights, he still had plenty. And of those 16 fights, he's fought people like Bradis in a 12-rounder, Gassiev in a 12-rounder, Tony Bellew, Michael Hunter in a 12-rounder, Krzysztof Glowatsky in a 12. I mean, he's had tremendous experience in 16 fights at the very, very highest elite level. So he knows what professional boxing is all about by now. Now, he may not know what heavyweight boxing is all about by now in the pros, but in the amateurs, Oleksandr Usyk fought heavyweights. He fought at super heavyweight during certain times in his amateur career, or certainly in the World Series of Boxing anyway, he was at super heavyweight because he beat the crap out of Joe Joyce. So he's been in there with very big men, and as I mentioned before, according to Johnny Nelson, he gave Vladimir Klitschko the business in sparring for the Fury training camp. I think that's when it was. So yeah, he's apparently showed, we certainly know against Joyce, but even in sparring against Klitschko, that he can deal with big men without too much issue. And in fact, it might be the case, we'll have to find out and see how Usyk's career at heavyweight unfolds, but it might be the case that he actually finds it easier in a lot of cases dealing with heavyweights than he does dealing with cruiserweights, because heavyweights are slower, heavyweights are not as skilled, heavyweights are generally not as accurate as cruiserweights are. Now, there are always exceptions, all right? So don't come at me with the all police, yeah? There are always exceptions, but generally, smaller fighters are more skillful. Smaller fighters are quicker. Smaller fighters have better stamina. Smaller fighters have higher punch output than bigger fighters do. The bigger fighters tend to be more powerful, stronger, taller and longer, so on and so forth. So it's a trade-off, right? We'll see how Usyk's career pans out. But when it comes to somebody like Dillian Whyte, their reach is the same. Dillian Whyte's arms, I think, are longer because arm length and reach are two different measurements. But just by what I see with my eyes, I think Dillian Whyte's arms are longer. But I don't think they're that much longer than Usyk's are. Okay? They're around the same kind of height. So if Whyte has any advantages at all, what are they going to be? Punching power, maybe physical strength. But in terms of his dimensions, there's not really any advantages there. I think this fight would come down, the outcome of this fight would come down to whether or not the officiating will be fair. If you've got fair officiating, a referee in there who's going to crack down on any kind of dirty tactics, then I think Oleksandr Usyk beats Dillian Whyte pretty comprehensively, I would say by 12-round decision. But if it's a referee who's going to turn a blind eye to a lot of stuff, then I'd have to give Dillian Whyte a chance of winning. Yeah, because if we're talking about skill, these guys are not in the same universe. Oleksandr Usyk is way more skilled than Dillian Whyte. And that's not to say that Dillian Whyte doesn't have skills, because he does. He's got underrated skills. That catch and shoot he likes to do with a left hook, hey, that's caught a lot of people now, hasn't it? The very same shot that caught Joshua and wobbled him also dropped Joseph Parker, a man who'd never been dropped before. That's not a coincidence. He's skilled with that left hook counter. So I'm not sitting there telling you that Dillian Whyte has no skills. He does have skills. But Usyk's skills are on a different level to Dillian Whyte's. So, yeah, I'm going to say if you got a fair referee, Usyk wins it on points. But if you've got a referee who turns the other cheek, looks the other way, then maybe Dillian Whyte's got a shot. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And also let me know how you think Usyk would get on against the other heavyweights out there. The Deontay Wilders, the Anthony Joshuas, the Big Baby Millers, the Luis Ortizes. How do you think he would get on? Drop it all below, people. It's happening, I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.